Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel where today we are going through my custom tactics, all my game plans, everything. You guys have requested this, so I'm here to show you today what all of my custom tactics are for all my different game plans and formations. So if you enjoy this video, do drop a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button as well if you found it useful. But this is the team that I start with. Now, we have made a couple of improvements to the team. I've been asking you guys over the last couple of days. Firstly, in the left back position, we've got Alex Telles, who asked you guys whether you wanted me to go with Telles or Lodi, and Telles was the overriding favourite. I then said, because I'm looking for a striker to replace Mbappe. Now, Mbappe is insane, but I'm probably going to have about 1.5 million to spend. And I asked a lot of you guys about Lautaro Martinez, and you guys said he wasn't very good. From what I've heard, he's good, but he's not great. And they asked about Dalglish, and a lot of you guys said we should get Dalglish. The only thing is, Dalglish doesn't really excite me, but I've played with him in draft and he's absolutely amazing. So I'm not quite sure where I want to go with this team. I do want to place Awar in the team, and we'll get into the instructions in a second so you can see where they play. But I do want to replace Awar, so I do need a good box-to-box midfielder. I'll have about 1.5 million coins. If you guys have got any suggestions, do let me know in the comment section. So going into the custom tactics, this is balanced. This is basically just that 4-3-3 that I start in. I only use it purely for chemistry reasons, because I then use my D-pad tactic, because I then use my tactics and I change to these. These are my game plans. I'm starting off with ultra defensive. This is my ultra defensive. So this is the formation that I use if. I actually very rarely use this. I always forget to use it, but this is just purely set up just to hang on at the end of a game. So if I'm, in a really tight game against someone really good, maybe it's 2-1 at like 87 minutes, I'll drop into this 5-4-1 and just try and hang on to the result. That's purely all this formation's for. So it's drop back 1 depth, but it's purely just to hang on to results at the end of games. So that's purely all that gets used for. Everything pretty much as defensive as possible, because obviously we want to be as defensive as possible. And then in terms of instructions, just got sweep keeper onto Stegen. Fullbacks are all on stay back while attacking. All the defenders on stay back while attacking. The wide players come back on defence, stay on edge of the box. No attacking runs forward again, stay back while attacking. So it's just pretty much everybody is as stay back as possible. And then we've got Mbappe on stay central. Actually, would prefer him on drift wide, because then he's going to drift out into the corner flags, which is obviously ideal, wanting to run up the wings and then take it into the corner flags. But this first formation is purely just for hanging on at the end of results. If anything, I very rarely use this because I always forget. I always get up in a game and it's 2-1 and I always forget to change anyway, so I don't really use it. But when I do use it, that's all it's for. We then move on to the 4-3-3-5. Now this is a formation that I use if I want to change something. This is purely a formation. This isn't my main formation I use. We're going to get onto that one next. But this is a formation that I use if, for example, a game is 0-0 at half time and my main formation is not really working. I'll change this 4-3-3-5. I really like this 4-3-3-5. I've gone through it a few times in videos and explained kind of a bit more in detail why I like this formation. But we have Mbappe on the left, Crespo and Messi up front. We then have Neymar and Awar in midfield, Koeman at CDM, and then Petit switching to centre-back. I think Petit's a better centre-back than Koeman. In terms of tactics, you'll pretty much see my tactics are pretty much the same. I use balance. I could use press, but I don't particularly think it makes that much difference. I have used press a little bit, and I just think it makes not really a lot of difference. There's the odd time here and there where you'll win the ball back, but most of the time I think it causes more problems than it rewards you. So I pretty much keep all my widths and depths pretty much the same. I don't really change them too much. The biggest thing for me with playing with FIFA, even when you're changing formations, you need to have consistency. So I have consistency with my width, my depth, because then you get used to where your players are all the time. So consistency is really, really important. But this 4-3-3-5, primarily I use this if a game is 0-0, if kind of nothing's really happening with my main formation, then I'll just change to this one just to kind of change something. It's always good to have a different formation in your back pocket where you can just change something, because a lot of people tend to stay with the same formation in a game even if it's not working. So I have this 4-3-3-5 just as a formation that I like, just as a backup formation if something's not going for me, if the game's a bit flat, if I'm not really creating a lot of chances. If something's just kind of not working, it's always good to have a different formation in your back pocket. Now we move into the 4-2-3-1. Now this is the formation that I use pretty much all the time at the moment. Obviously it's pretty much what everybody uses, but it's such an effective formation. For me personally, you can see again we use Petit at centre back, Koeman at CDM with Aouar. That's kind of why I want to place Aouar, because he's not really a CDM, but I don't really want a CDM like an out and out CDM. I want kind of like a CDM that can shoot, can pass, can dribble. So maybe like a Michael Ballack, you know, a Mateus, someone like that in that CDM. Maybe a team near Frankie de Jong is someone that I'm going to look for, but we've got Neymar at cam on that free roam, Mbappe, Messi, and Crespo. Crespo is amazing. So again, in terms of tactics, you see my tactics are pretty much exactly the same. I use balance, same width and depth. You know, as I said, consistency is key, so I don't really change too much there. And in terms of instructions, stay central, getting behind for Crespo. Neymar obviously on getting to the box and free roam. 2 wide players on getting to the box. As I've explained in the last video, I don't like them on. I don't like all 3 of the cams on free roam, because I just think it gets a little bit too messy. 2 CDMs on man mark and stay back while attacking, and then the fullback stay back while attacking and overlap, and then Ter Stegen is on comes for crosses and sweeper keeper. But this is a really good formation, this 4-2-3-1. I really like this. It works really well. I know it's a really overused formation and everybody uses it, but it's such a good formation, and it just has everything. It's not. The reason why I use this formation is just because I love the 3 cams and how they interchange, especially because I have them on. I have that Neymar, that central cam on free roam. I love how they all interchange with each other, and it makes so many good flowing attacks, and that's how I find this formation. A lot of people use like drop back, you know, overload, ball side, all of that bullshit. For me personally, I like to play on the front foot. I like to have that solidarity with the 2 CDMs and the fullback staying back, give me that, you know, good base. But I like to have that really interchanging, free flowing attack. So this is a really good formation for me. And then our ultra attacking formation is the 4-3-3-4. Again, this is a really good attacking formation. For me personally, if you want just an attacking formation, a pure attacking formation, this 4-3-3-4 is don't look any further. This is such a good formation. We have Mbappe come back on defence, you know, just to get in front of our wingers, our fullbacks, getting behind and getting into the box for crosses as always. Stay central, getting behind again for the striker. Same for Messi. Neymar again on getting to the box and free roam. As explained before, free roam works best when it's just like on that central cam rather than any wider players, because it means that he's able to move all over the pitch freely. 2 centre midfielders, balance attack and stay on the edge of the box. We've already got quite a few players getting into the box, so we don't need any more. So I want these guys staying on the edge of the box. But still being able to get forward, that's why they're unbalanced. And then the fullbacks, because that front 6 is kind of quite attacking, you definitely need the 2 fullbacks on stay back while attacking and overlap, and again comes for cross and sweep keeper on Ter Stegen. Now tactics, this formation, this 4-3-3-4, so we've got the 4-2-3-1 is the one that I use pretty much all the time. That's kind of the formation that I start in. I've then got the 4-3-3-5, which I will switch to if a game's like maybe 0-0 at sort of 45 minutes, 60 minutes, nothing's really happening, I'll change to that formation. This formation is the one I use if I'm behind in a game. So if I'm 1-0 down, 2-1 down, something like that, then I'll change to this formation. I'll change to this formation, press on possession loss, obviously, because if we're losing the game, we need to try and chase it a bit more, so we need to be a bit more aggressive. Width and depth on defence is exactly the same. A little bit wider on the attack, so I do want to kind of stretch the play if I'm attacking or want to get, you know, really aggressive because I'm behind in the game. I really want to try and create some space. So by being a little bit wider, it's going to drag certain players in the opposing team's defenders. It's going to drag them a little bit wider. It's going to create some more gaps and space for me. One more on the players in the box, but as I said, I don't really like to change that from my instructions. My instructions are on getting to the box for the players I want, stay on the edge of the box for the ones I want, so I typically don't want to change that too much, because otherwise the ones that are on stay in the box will ignore if you're telling that to be on 10. So this is the formation I use if I'm behind in a game, and they're all my tactics. So they are my 4 tactics, they're my game plans. As I said, the 4-2-3-1, very overused, but it's a really, really effective formation. 4-3-3-5 is a personal favourite of mine. I have tried the 4-4-2, but I don't think it's quite as good as it was a couple of weeks ago. And then the 4-3-3-4 if I'm behind in a game. And then the 5-4-1 if I am leading a game and it's sort of 5 minutes to go and I just need. So the thing to really take away from this video is we've got 4 formations for all scenarios. We've got one that's the one that we use. We've got another one if we are, you know, kind of the game's a bit dead, nothing's really happening, we'll change to that. And then we've got a formation for if we need to chase the game, and we've got a formation for if we're ahead in the game. So that's what's really important about these game plans. You need to have a formation for every scenario. So at different stages in the game, you can change to a formation, and that can be the most effective way for you to get more wins. That's a big tip that not a lot of people do. A lot of people do just have one formation that they use, one formation to hang on, and that's it. So it's always important to use all of these game plans and really kind of get the most out of your games, and it's something that's definitely going to help you get more wins and just have a lot more fun in FIFA and try and be a bit more successful. So there are all my custom tactics and instructions. So if you guys want to see any more videos, do drop a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. And that's all to say, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.